Hey everyone, welcome to Old Joe's amazing adventure. Despite the toxic gas, he's determined to see all his daughter's pictures as if his final act. The girl in the pictures, graceful and beautiful, is like his mother come back to life. Poor Old Joe feels like he's trapped in a dark box, his eyes stinging, yet he grits his teeth and gets up. Carefully peeking around, he breathes a sigh of relief. The letter to his daughter is still there, proving hope is not lost. He excitedly sniffs the fragrance of the outdoors, only to realize there are sunglasses in his pocket, thoughtfully prepared for him. The sunlight is no longer blinding through the shades, and there's a wad of cash in his pockets, clearly budgeted for his survival investigation. But staring at the square box in front of him, he's completely clueless about what to do. Pressing a button, he sees a countdown by his daughter's photo lightbulb moment. In the distance, a woman with an umbrella reminds him of that fateful night. It's a eureka moment. He tries to chase her down, but a young man thinks he's a creep. What an injustice. Little do they realize how many years of pent-up rage Old Joe harbors within him, capable of igniting a blaze. Ignoring the guys who have been tackled to the ground, he hastily rushes after her. He reaches the yellow umbrella, only to find a homeless guy instead. Now that's plot twist. The girl thinks Old Joe needs medical help, but he has to make a hasty exit to keep his identity secret. But before he departs, it's his odd behavior that prompts her to decide to give him her card. What a curious and kind-hearted person she is. He could barely recognize himself. Reflecting on 2 decades of chaos, he hopes she can lend a hand. But before the hunt begins, a mysterious caller interrupts, and his daughter drops a bombshell. Total mind blower. She leaves Old Joe scratching his head, but she makes it clear she's in his hands, and now, the master puppeteer is revealed. To rescue his daughter, Old Joe pulls out the life or death list, but many names on it are long gone. Talk about unfortunate. After a sleepless night, Old Joe is completely beaten. By the time his buddy finds him, he's out cold. He instinctively dials 911, but when he sees someone, he freezes, unable to speak. Poor Old Joe doesn't dare to shout, even as his crush walks right by. But when she sees the card in his hand, her curiosity peaks, discovering he's been missing for 20 years, a real misadventure. While her curiosity spikes knowing this, when her bud is out, she decides to search his letters online. Through the lines, she finds Old Joe's heartfelt longing for his daughter. It's truly touching. Yet, engrossed in the experience, she fails to notice that Old Joe has already awakened. What an unbelievable twist of fate it is. The emotions stir up a sweet spot in her, and instead of calling the cops, she totally believes Old Joe. Her kindness stands in stark contrast to Old Joe's wariness, and she offers to help, an angel if I ever saw one. She's all for a father-daughter reunion, but Old Joe clings to the letter like it's a treasure. Suddenly, the shadowy figure sends a text, but Old Joe visits the only name on the list. What a dramatic rendezvous. Before entering, he feigned withdrawing profits, but upon seeing his old boss, reclaimed them. A classic twist. The girl sticks by Old Joe, wanting to help, but the investigation grinds to a halt. How frustrating. Just then, a delivery sparks an epiphany in Old Joe. Talk about unexpected breakthrough. With the girl's help, Old Joe searches for the Dragon restaurant, and before you know it, he's racing through Chinatown. Sounds like a treasure hunt. But as he sits at the familiar corner cafe, he prints 2 checks and soon senses something's off. They hit every place asking for dumplings, but get totally different flavors. After the girl heads to work, it's just Old Joe diving into the remaining 70 Chinese restaurants, playing detective now. Finally, he catches a whiff of that familiar flavor at one place. Old Joe feels like he just hit the jackpot. But at the counter, piles of takeout catch his eye, and suddenly a big guy bursts through the door. Now that's action-packed. Old Joe grabs a hammer and charges after him, bursting into the garage just like in the movies. The big guy is caught completely off guard, and Old Joe swiftly uses his takeout container to shield his face from the blow. A fierce showdown indeed ensues. The warden in surveillance is totally oblivious, while the inmates are losing their minds from hunger. As the warden opens the door, he gets walloped, and Old Joe slams him on the table. Things are heating up. Against this jerk who's imprisoned him for 20 years, Old Joe's not holding back. Using a blade, he carves into the warden's flesh to extract information on the mastermind. It's a total blockbuster moment. You got me? Great, let's get this Old Joe on board. It's been 20 years of guest fun, but before Old Joe can ask more, a sound comes from the door. Outside, a ruckus erupts. As Old Joe swaggers out with the warden, a crowd has gathered. It's a scene. Fortunately, he miraculously escapes, but outside a menacing group of foes is waiting. After a fierce battle, Old Joe unfortunately gets stabbed. Thinking he's done for, just as he steps out, 2 guys corner him, and boom, Old Joe's at his buddy's bar. What a roller coaster ride. He's in agony but relieved to have that girl's number, holding on to that glimmer of hope.